The story begins with a terrifying sight. We see countless mysterious creatures rising from the ocean and slowly moving toward the city. As they reach the shore, tiny parasitic organisms detach from these creatures and begin spreading throughout the city. Soon after, we are shown a quiet house at night where a man is sleeping peacefully beside his wife. Suddenly, one of the parasites crawls into their bedroom. It slowly moves toward the man and slips into his ear. Next, we are introduced to a teenage boy named Shinichi, unaware that a parasite has entered his room. The parasite attacks his right hand and burrows inside it. Terrified, Shinichi quickly ties his arm tightly with a cable, stopping the parasite from spreading further into his body. The next morning, while eating breakfast, Shinichi feels something strange in his right hand, as if it's alive. Meanwhile, we return to the man who was infected through his ear the previous night. He walks up to his wife and stares at her silently. Suddenly, before his wife can react, he devours her entire head. Back at school, Shinichi is walking with his friend Suddy, but he starts acting strangely, making her uncomfortable. She eventually walks away. All day long, Shinichi feels abnormal strength and movement in his right hand. When he returns home, panic overwhelms him. Feeling like something is watching him from inside, he tries to cut his own hand, but the moment he does, his hand transforms into a monster and stops him. The creature inside his hand begins speaking. It introduces itself as Mijai. Mijai tells Shinichi that it won't harm him, but warns him never to try cutting it off because if Mijai dies, Shinichi will die, too. We then see Mijai adapting to life with Shinichi. Mijai starts reading books, using Shinichi's laptop, and learning about humans because Shinichi managed to stop the parasite from reaching his brain earlier. Mijai is now limited to controlling only Shinichi's right hand. Meanwhile, the city grows more dangerous. Other parasites roam freely, killing humans and feeding on their flesh. The next day, while Shinichi is riding a bus, Mijai senses the presence of another parasite nearby. Against Shinichi's will, Mijai forces him toward the source. They arrive at a restaurant where they witness a parasite in the middle of eating a human. Seeing Shinichi, the parasite assumes he's one of them and offers him human flesh. When Shinichi refuses, the parasite realizes that his brain is still human, meaning Shinichi is incomplete. The parasite attacks, opening its horrifying mouth. Shinichi freezes in fear, but Mijai instantly steps in and kills the parasite, saving Shinichi's life. Shinichi is shocked and tells Mijai that he killed one of his own kind. Mijai calmly replies that if that parasite had killed Shinichi, Mijai would have died as well, so he killed it purely for survival. The story ends with news reports showing people across the city being brutally murdered. No one knows who or what is behind it because the parasites can change their appearance after every kill. And that's how Shinichi's terrifying new reality begins. He looks deeply disturbed. Shinichi asks Migi why he doesn't tell the other parasites to stop killing humans. Mijai coldly replies that humans eat animals the same way parasites eat humans, and according to him, there is nothing wrong with that. Meanwhile, the scene shifts back to the restaurant where the police are conducting an investigation. They're completely confused, unable to understand who could kill people in such a brutal way. The next day at school, Mijai warns Shinichi that there is a parasite nearby. Shockingly, that parasite turns out to be their new teacher. When she looks at Shinichi, she instantly realizes that he is connected to a parasite as well. After class, she approaches Shinichi. Shinichi is clearly terrified, but she calmly tells him not to be afraid, saying she has no intention of hurting him. Shinichi asks why she came to work at a school. She explains that she wants to live like a human so she can preserve human qualities within herself. She then takes Shinichi to a hidden location where she introduces him to two more parasites. One of them is a student and the other is a police officer. She reveals that the police officer is her husband and that she is pregnant. She claims their baby will be a completely normal human. That's why they want to live quietly among humans. They promise not to kill openly, but admit they still plan to secretly consume human flesh. She then asks Shinichi to join their group. Mijai immediately rejects the idea. Later, as Shinichi is heading home, the police officer suddenly appears. Mijai senses danger and tells Shinichi that the officer is here to kill them. He has realized that Shinichi and Mijai were responsible for killing the parasite at the restaurant. Mijai tells Shinichi that he can fight the officer, but Shinichi himself must deliver the final blow. A brutal fight breaks out between Mijai and the officer. Shinichi hesitates. He doesn't want to kill anyone, but eventually he is forced to stab the officer. Shinichi panics, believing he has killed a human. Mijai quickly explains that the man was no longer human. He was a parasite who intended to kill them. However, the officer is still alive. The parasite inside him realizes that this body won't survive much longer. At the same time, Shinichi's mother is walking along the same road. She hears the officer calling for help. When she approaches him, the parasite abandons the officer's body and secretly enters Shinichi's mother instead. Later that night, as Shinichi is asleep in his room, Mijai senses a parasite approaching the house. He wakes Shinichi and they go downstairs to investigate. Standing there is Shinichi's mother, but something is terribly wrong. She slowly moves towards Shinichi with the intent to kill him. Mijai tells Shinichi the truth. The parasite that attacked them earlier has taken control of his mother's body. Shinichi refuses to believe it, but suddenly, his mother's head opens in the same horrifying way as the other parasites. She attacks Shinichi and pierces his chest, destroying his heart. As Shinichi collapses, bleeding heavily, the next morning, something unbelievable happens. Shinichi wakes up alive. He slowly stands up. Mijai explains that Shinichi was critically injured, so he used his own cells to repair Shinichi's heart and cover his wounds. Physically, Shinichi has recovered, but emotionally he is completely broken. His mother is gone and her body was taken over by a parasite. And from that moment on, Shinichi is no longer just a normal human boy. His life is changed forever. The next day, Shinichi goes to meet the teacher and asks her about the police officer because deep inside, he wants revenge for his mother's death. Soon after, when Shinichi returns to school, he runs into the same student the teacher had previously introduced him to. The student tells Shinichi that he has also transferred to this school and pretends to act friendly. But Shinichi can sense that something is wrong. He knows this boy's intentions are not good. Later, as Shinichi heads home, Mijai explains something important. To save Shinichi's life, Mijai had injected his own cells into Shinichi's body. Because of this, Shinichi has started developing parasite-like abilities as well. Mijai also reveals a serious downside. From now on, he will need to sleep for 4 hours every day. During that time, he won't be able to protect Shinichi at all. He'll be completely inactive, almost like a dead human. That means Shinichi will have to survive on his own. The next morning, Shinichi is walking to school with his friend, Suddy. On the road, they see a dead dog lying there. Suddy feels heartbroken and emotional. Shinichi calmly picks up the dog and throws it into the trash. Seeing this, Satomi feels disturbed. Shinichi shows no emotion at all. That's when it becomes clear. Shinichi is slowly losing his human feelings and becoming more like a parasite. In class, chaos suddenly erupts. Everyone realizes that the new student is actually a parasite. The boy begins slaughtering students mercilessly. Desperate to stop him, Satomi throws acid on the parasite's face. His mouth burns, and he screams in pain. Enraged, the parasite goes completely out of control and starts killing everyone in sight. Shinichi senses what's happening and rushes toward the classroom. Students are running out in terror. When Shinichi enters the room, he's horrified. Nearly all the students are already dead. Mijai tries to calm him down. The parasite then turns towards Suddy about to kill her as well. At that moment, Shinichi arrives and saves his friend. He starts fighting the parasite. Suddenly, the teacher appears. She doesn't want the truth about parasites to be exposed, so she activates a bomb she had prepared earlier. Realizing what's about to happen, Shinichi grabs Suddy and jumps down from the building. A massive explosion tears through the school. The police and military immediately arrive at the scene. When the officers enter the destroyed school, they discover something terrifying. The parasite survived the blast. The parasite slaughters all the police officers inside. Mijai then informs Shinichi that the parasite boy is still alive. Shinichi comes up with a plan from the rooftop of another building. He uses an arrow to finally kill the parasite. After that, the teacher approaches Shinichi. She gives him the address of the police officer who killed his mother. Shinichi goes to that location and finally sees the parasite who had taken over his mother's body. But at the worst possible moment, Mijai's sleep cycle begins. Shinichi panics. Mijai can no longer fight alongside him. Mijai tells Shinichi there's nothing he can do except transform himself into a sword. Mijai falls asleep and turns into a blade. Shinichi attacks the parasite alone. The officer immediately realizes that Shinichi is no longer fully human because no ordinary human could move this fast or dodge attacks like this. A brutal fight breaks out. After a fierce struggle, Shinichi manages to cut off the parasite's neck. The parasite collapses, finally dead. Later, Shinichi visits Suddy in the hospital. Standing there, he makes a decision. He will hunt down every parasite one by one to protect humanity. But the story isn't over. We then see a mysterious detective secretly taking photographs of Shinichi and Mijai. And with that chilling revelation, Parasyte Part 1 comes to an end. If you want to see how Shinichi's story continues, how far he's willing to go, and what happens when humans and parasites finally clash, make sure you don't miss Part 2. Hit that subscribe button. Drop a like if this story hooked you.